Good morning. It's good to see everyone this morning. I'm Reverend Stephen, minister of this congregation. Thank you for joining us this morning as we gather once again, both in person and on Zoom, a spiritual community that seeks to be diverse and inclusive as we inspire love, work for justice, and grow together in community. We extend a special welcome to our visitors. Thank you for worshiping with us this morning. For our visitors on Zoom, if you'd like to know more about our church and be in contact with us, there will be a contact link in the chat box at the end of the service. For everyone attending via Zoom, you are welcome to stay after and select a breakout room for conversation. For those who are here in Hobbs Hall this morning, if you have a joy or sorrow to share with us, please fill out a yellow card and give it to an usher during the opening hymn. For those of you attending on Zoom, you'll be invited to share your joys and sorrows via the chat box. Well, thank you to our team leading worship this morning, our interim music manager, Vanessa, worship associate, Kathy, and our song leader, Renee, as well as our tech team, Julie Swango, Max Grubb, our administrator, Mary Beth Hannon, Kara Kramer, who prepared the slides this morning, and Brad Bolton, who is our sound technician and records the service. Once again, welcome. Now, let us take a moment to breathe together, to enter into our time of shared community. As we breathe together, let's invite the Spirit of life to be present among us as we reflect on April's theme of awakening and how we are called to live as fully as possible. Come, let us worship together.
My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. My heart is opening, my roots are anchoring, my breath is traveling to every part of me. Breath moves to every part of me. Light moves to every part of me. Love moves to every part of me. Song moves to every part of me.
Good morning. Our opening words today are from Jean Olson. She writes, "In what form did the Spirit appear to you today? The blossom of a flower, the tug of a child's hand, the silent twinkling stars, an old woman smiling at the bus stop, a lover's gentle hug, a presence so close to your soul you could almost touch it, words of truth formed unbidden in your mind, the holy disguised in so many ways, may your senses open wide in recognition." As Unitarian Universalists, we light a flame within a chalice to unite us in worship, to remind us of our ongoing search for the light of truth within us and among us, and to be a light to guide us on our journey as a community toward freedom. Thank you, Joe, for helping us with the chalice lighting. As Joe lights our shared chalice, I invite you to light your home chalice if you're on Zoom. Please join me in the words of our congregational covenant and say these with me. We affirm that each life has brilliance, and when joined with others in joyful community, has the power to transform. We pledge ourselves and our resources to this journey. This covenant inspires and challenges us to dwell together in right relationship. We promise to extend hospitality, nurture community, all ages, encourage spiritual growth, honor diversity, and practice kindness.
We have a very special premiere this morning. For the very first time, we are offering you a film.
Hey, Raylan. Hi. Have a seat. Hey, I was wondering if you would help me with the auction skit again this year.
Again, what are you going to play this year? Donald Duck?
Well, no, actually, I was hoping you would play yourself. The theme this year is Buds in Bloom.
More good news, I better not have to weed.
No weeding. I was actually thinking Buds in Bloom reminds me of you and your church friends.
That is so cheesy.
I know it is cheesy, but that's what moms do. We're kind of cheesy. You know, speaking of that, the auction starts on Mother's Day, Sunday, May 8th, and ends on Saturday, May 14th.
Wait, the whole auction's going to be a week long?
Well, yeah, actually. The online auction starts on Mother's Day, May 8th, at noon, and then you bid all week long, and then the live auction will take place Saturday, May 14th at 7 p.m. in Hobbs Hall. It will be broadcast over Zoom, but you can also attend in person. If you attend in person, the tickets are only $5.
Okay, so what does have to do with me, my friends?
Well, we support the auction by donating and bidding because we want the church to thrive, so that the church is there for you and your friends and for all the other kids in the community that will come after you that need our wonderful, awesome, welcoming UUCK community.
You're being cheesy again.
I can't help it. I'm just so passionate about how important it is to have our church in this community and to be welcoming to children and youth.
You know, you are kind of right about that.
Did you just say I'm right? You admit it. I'm right about something.
My friends and I love the church. We hang out there together. It's a place where I have many of my best friends and grown-ups I know and trust. Church is one of my favorite places in the whole world.
That makes me so happy to hear that. And that's why we support the auction, our church's biggest fundraiser.
So say people want to help. What's the next step?
Well, if they have something they'd like to donate for the auction, like a basket or something handmade or a service, some type of delicious food or beverage or an event that they want to hold, they should go online to togetherauction.com/KentUU and enter the item information in there.
Okay, so then what?
Well, the online silent auction bidding starts on Sunday, May 8th at noon and closes on 7 p.m. on May 14th, just as the live auction starts.
Okay, so I think I've got it. The silent auction is all online, and then it closes, and the live auction starts.
Mm-hmm.
You can attend the live auction in person or on Zoom. But still, what does it have to do with me and my friends?
Well, our church community loves our children and youth. We want a strong, healthy church so that we can be the favorite place for lots of kids and youth like you in the future, so that you can grow up and lead our world into a better tomorrow.
Cheese alert. But actually, that kind of reminds me of the end of the poem we wrote together in RE. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, sure.
It's called The World We Built.
Oh, she's got it in her pocket like a good student.
In the world we build, there is hope and love, and people are brave to stand up for what they believe in. We will build the world by helping people, expressing ourselves and helping others. In the world we build, no one is homeless, hungry, scared, or treated unfairly. In the world we build, there will be peace and justice, and we will build our world with love.
Well said. I love that poem. Thanks, Raylan. We'll see you at the auction.
Hymn number 298, Wake Now My Senses, began in a cemetery. In 1980, Reverend Charity Rowley, now retired and a member of the Iowa City UU congregation, went to serve as the DRE at the First Parish Church of Arlington, Massachusetts. As Charity and the minister, Charles Grady, began to plan the installation service, Charles suggested that Charity ask the Reverend Tom Michelson to write a hymn for the service. Tom was living in the Boston area during a sabbatical, so Charity called him to meet so she could ask him to create that hymn. Tom's living situation didn't have easy access, so they met in Watertown by the cemetery. Charity, who's a close friend of mine, says that the cemetery wasn't easy to find that night, with Boston's historical roads that start and stop as the city radiates out from the bay. She went on to tell me that the usual hymn for ceremonies such as ordinations and installations was rank by rank, but it was too march-like, too militant with its musical line and 4/4 time. Charity wanted something lighter and more hopeful, more filled with possibility and promise. Tom found the hymn tune Slane in a congregational hymnal, wrote new words, and delivered Wake Now My Senses for the installation. It's one of my favorite hymns because it captures so beautifully what it means to be fully human and spiritually awake. As Unitarian Universalists, we seek to be an embodied faith, experiencing life not just through our minds, but with our entire bodies and complete selves. We are invited to come to our senses. Although come to your senses is typically used to tell someone they've been acting unwisely and to behave in a way that is more sensible, coming to our senses is literally about experiencing the world around us through our eyes, our ears, our sense of touch and taste and smell, and being present to the wonder, the terror, the mystery, and the beauty all around us every moment of our lives. So now let's learn about this hymn. I invite you to turn to number 298 in the gray hymnal, and let's sing together the first verse of Wake Now My Senses.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Giving, receiving, as love shows us how.
Our first reading is Cosmic Presence by Sandra Fees. Cosmic Presence, ignite me with your energy. Let me be filled with the radiance of suns and stars rising along morning's rim and setting in evening's cool. May I be sparked with curiosity to greet whatever may come and accept whatever may go at the end of the day. Let me not slip into the routine or be consumed by the mundane. May I be surprised by the lavish blaze of creation, so that my spirit may catch fire and be reawakened to delight. One of the times for me is when I'm out in nature. My husband and I visited old-growth forests in Michigan last fall. We could see the towering trees, smell the pine sap, hear the birds call, and feel the mist from the waterfalls. The beauty and awe of nature was on display, and it was a moving experience that made me feel connected to something larger than myself. There are many fantastic places to go to experience nature, but if I needed to visit those special places to be able to hear the earth call or feel the power of being in all, I wouldn't have many opportunities to feel alive and awake in nature. Luckily, nature is much more accessible than that right here in Kent out my back door. Part of my morning ritual is taking my dog outside after I wake up. I could just let her outside on her own in our front yard, but when it's not too cold, I prefer to go out with her behind our condo. Here is a view from a morning this week. I know it maybe doesn't look like anything special, but the days I step outside first thing, even briefly, I feel different and more alive and alert. It is usually very quiet. I look at the sky and listen for birds. If I'm lucky, I might see a rabbit in the grass or a red-shouldered hawk perched in a tree. Another good day is when the morning sky is filled with shades of pink. For that moment, I feel gratitude for all the gifts I get from nature, its beauty and bounty, its reminder that we are all interconnected. We have a bird feeder on our front porch. It is very close to the house. This is the first time I've seen some of these birds so close. From a distance, I thought the female cardinal was a bit drab and unremarkable, but seeing her up close, I have come to appreciate her beauty. Here is a wonderful photo that Georgia Quinn shared with me that shows her interesting features. Even the starling, viewed dimly by some as it is not a native species and crowds out other birds, has its own beauty when observed at close range. Our bird feeder is a way that we can give back to the birds, but somehow I always feel like I'm getting the better part of the exchange. Take a moment now to reflect. When have you felt your senses awake and alert when out in nature? How does the earth call to you? Are you ready and receptive to hear her call? How do you give and receive gifts with nature? Please join now in singing verse 2 of Wake Now, My Senses.
Wake now, my reason, reach out to the new. Join with each pilgrim who quests for the true. Honor the beauty and wisdom of time. Suffer the limit and praise the sublime.
This reading is titled, O You Who Have Gone on Pilgrimage, and it's by Rumi. It's from the mystic tradition of Islam. O you who have gone on pilgrimage, where are you? Where, oh where? Here, here is the beloved. Oh come now, come, oh come. Your friend, they are your neighbor, they are next to your wall. You erring in the desert, what air of love is this? If you'd see the beloved's form without any form, you are the house, the master. You are the sacred house, yes, you. Where is a bunch of roses if you would be this garden? Where one soul's pearly essence when you're the sea of God? That's true, and yet your troubles may turn to treasures rich. How sad that you veil yourself the treasure that is yours. Our third source of spiritual wisdom, world religions, inspires us in our ethical and spiritual lives. As UUs, we do not claim to have the ultimate answers to life's deepest questions. Instead, we offer a way of being that is always open to new ideas, change, new possibilities, new ways of seeing the world. Ours is a pilgrim's faith, a journey of discovery instead of a destination. Our fourth principle invites us into a lifelong search for truth and meaning. Many religious traditions have long known the transformational power of a pilgrimage. In the book Meeting the Buddha, Andrew Schelling writes, "Only the walker who sets out toward ultimate things is a pilgrim. The tourist travels just as far, sometimes with great zeal and courage, gathering up acquisitions like a string of adventures, a wondrous tale or two, and returns the same person as the one who departed. The pilgrim is different. The pilgrim resolves that the one who returns will not be the same person as the one who set out." As pilgrims, we are invited to see the world with new eyes that allow us to look beyond the surface of things into the depths where life's true meaning, its great treasures of love, hope, and joy are to be found. There is another gift for the pilgrim, the truth that we don't travel alone. We are blessed with companions who share this journey, those who embrace the lifelong search for truth, and who will be a source of strength and hope in the face of life's challenges and losses. Fellow pilgrims who will also offer us the opportunities along the way to share our spiritual treasures with them, words of hope, strength to lean on in times of struggle and sorrow. Let us join our hands and our hearts as we travel together as spiritual pilgrims, guided by love and by hope. Now remaining seated, please join in singing verse 3 of Wake Now My Senses.
Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end.
I quoted Thich Nhat Hanh last week. If you are awake, you cannot do otherwise than act compassionately to help relieve the suffering you see around you. But we cannot care for others if we do not care for ourselves. So each week we take time to care for our spiritual lives with shared stillness, where we can nurture our spirits through prayer or reflection, gratitude, meditation, or simply being, in order to remember who we truly are, to reflect on life, and to reconnect with the sacred mystery that is the very heart of life itself. Let's enter stillness now for several minutes. Our lives are a mystery that bring many things. Part of our shared experience is sorrow, struggle, and loss. We take time now to share the sorrows, the struggles, and losses that are in our hearts right now. If you are on Zoom and have something to share, please use the chat box. Could I have the yellow cards, please? Georgia asks prayers for my siblings and nephew as our sister takes her last breaths. We're holding all of you in our hearts in this challenging time. Marianne Casper shares that the friend and volunteer Angie of the Socially Responsible Sweatshop died suddenly Friday night. We hold the sweatshop community in our hearts as they grieve. Lori Merkin McGee is thinking of my grandmother Shirley on the 4-year anniversary of her passing, holding you in our hearts as you remember her, Lori. And then Mel shares a sorrow that a friend from school passed on Monday, sending love to that family. Kevin shares a concern for House Bill 454, 616, and others which criminalize and shame our LGBTQIA plus youth here in Ohio. Kevin urges our congregation to call our representatives and to raise awareness about the harm that they would cause. Tracy Luna shares concern for her father who has been hospitalized for 7 weeks. We pray for his healing and for peace. These are words adapted from my colleague, the Reverend Sarah Lawal. Spirit of life and love, may we hear the cries of the world. May we be vessels of comfort and compassion. May we be vessels of hope and healing. For those we've named this morning, those we hold in our hearts and minds, those in the world in need of our care and compassion. May we hear the voice within calling us to ask what's possible, to walk to the edge, to take a leap of faith into possibility and fullness of life, and to dance with the infinite for a while. May we nurture peace in our hearts and in our lives. May we raise our voices for peace in the world. May we hear each other's voices of love and encouragement. And may we dare to offer that love and encouragement in return, helping each other become our most loving and full selves. And may love prevail. Life also brings wonder, joy, and awe. We've experienced moments that have lifted our spirits. Once again, for those on Zoom, you are welcome to use the chat box to share any joys you've experienced this week. And Raylan says, I did my first solo for orchestra yesterday at Stanton Middle School and got a 2 above average. And Vanessa was my accompanist. Well done. Way to go, Raylan. Kevin says, I have a joy that this Tuesday is my 1-year anniversary of top surgery. Congratulations, Kevin, as you grow into who you are more fully. Larry Cole says, glad to be out of the hospital. Larry, we're glad too. Welcome home. Wendy Mann shares that Coleman did his first solo and ensemble at Stanton too. And Iona attended her first baby shower. And DJ Smith shares, I am grateful to have my adopted son and his family safe and living with me now. And now, with gratitude for these and every blessing we receive in life, for the gift of life itself, for the companionship of each other on life's journey, for the beauty of our world and this day of possibility, let us raise our hearts in gladness and together say, Amen. Now remaining seated, would you join in singing verse 4 of Wake Now My Senses?
Wake now my conscience with justice thy God. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place.
There is so much in our world that is broken, so many people hurting and in need, so much injustice and oppression, so much to be done. It's easy to say there's too much, whatever I do won't matter, won't make a difference. But today, with an exercise that's interactive, I'm going to show you how one person doing even one thing makes a huge difference toward creating justice in our world. I learned this from my friend Jim Kopic. It's a secret formula, and it's kind of like playing tag. So I need 2 volunteers to help me. Come up. So this is the first turn. I'm going to tag Ray Lynn, and I'm going to tag you. All right? Thank you, John. All right, now, for turn number 2, I want each of you, both of you, to go tag 2 people in the congregation. When you're tagged, you can either stand or raise your hand, whatever works, okay? So go to it. Now, Kathy is also going to tag 2 people on Zoom by naming them. Yeah, Randy, you're it. You could raise your hand or stand. Okay. All right. Now, do we tag 2 people? So the 2 people who Kathy tagged on Zoom, I want you to use the chat box to each name 2 more people. Okay. Now, turn number 3. So there are those of you who have been tagged. I want each of you to tag 2 more people. Everybody who's been tagged, tag 2 more people. So you can stand or raise your hand. So by my count, we should have 15 people standing and a similar number on Zoom who have been tagged. So the 4 of you who have been tagged on Zoom, name 2 people in the chat box who haven't been tagged yet. Now, everybody who's been tagged, I want you to tag 2 more people. Turn 4. Thank you. Okay. All right. All right. Now, is there anybody left to tag? Okay. All right. Is everyone on Zoom tagged? Oh, a lot of names.
They're working on it.
Okay. We'll let the folks on Zoom. All right. So in the meantime, that was just 4 turns. So you are welcome to be seated. How are they doing on Zoom?
It's slow, but I encourage.
Okay, well, while they're catching up, we're going to do some math together. So that was 4 turns. How many turns do you think it would take to get all of Kent, Ohio, tagged, standing, or with their hands raised? Any guesses? That's about 30,000 people. Braylon? 300? No, not nearly. Joe, what do you think? 20? Getting closer. Lori, what did you say? 15, pretty close. Less than 16 turns. Yeah. Now, let's think bigger, because we're always thinking bigger, right? Ohio, 11.66 million people. How many turns would it take to get all of Ohio tagged, standing, or raising their hand? Any guesses?
Sorry.
She read my script. Yep. A little less than 25 turns. Okay, now let's go up. Let's move up. All of the United States, 314, 15 million, however many people we have, how many turns? Joe? Close. A little less than 28, actually. Now, Justin? How many people do you think it would take to tag, how many turns would it take to tag the whole world? How many? Nope. 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 Nope, not even. Less than 33. 33 turns, and we've got the whole world. Now imagine if each of us took a turn a day, it would take fewer than 5 weeks to connect with every single human being on the planet, tagged or standing. Now imagine, instead of going up and tagging someone, there's an act of love you perform. And they share that with 2 people. They do something. You know, what's something simple you could do? John?
Give someone a compliment.
Give someone a compliment. Excellent.
I like your
Stole?
Yeah.
Little quick commercial. The socially responsible sweatshop made this for me, by the way. Thank you. I wear it with pride and joy. A meal, flowers. What else? What else could you do that was simple and yet would mean so much to someone? Listen. Yeah. A hug. Yeah, a hug. Yeah, a kind, loving word, a compliment. Now imagine, instead of that act of love, we did a different thing, which would be an act of justice. We did something that brought more justice in the world. And then 2 people who had been touched by your act of justice did an act of justice for 2 more people, and on and on. Just 5 weeks. Imagine how different our world would be. And it all started with just one person. That person could be you. Will that person be you? And now let's join in singing the final verse of Wake Now My Senses, verse 5.
Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
And in the spirit of mingling our call with all who will share, we are privileged to do something very special today. We will affirm and celebrate one among us who has heard a call to commissioned lay ministry. Today we honor and celebrate Kathy as we affirm her call. To tell you a little more about the commissioned lay ministry program, I invite Lori McGee to come up and speak to us.
I just want to say before I start that I never get math problems right, so I'm gonna ride that high for a while now. I don't know where it came from, but here we are. The CLM program is a course of study, experience, and service offered by our region, the Central East region of the UUA, the Unitarian Universalist Association of our country. Once admitted to the program, which typically takes 2 to 3 years to complete, candidates complete an extensive reading list which focuses on various areas of church life, such as worship, pastoral care, social justice, environmental justice, anti-racism, theology, and more. Candidates also, in agreement with their church's board and minister, work out a plan of service to their congregation during candidacy and beyond. The candidates work closely with a minister mentor who helps to guide them through the program, as well as working closely with their supervising minister in their own congregation. At the end of the candidacy period, candidates apply to the Commission Lay Ministry Council to be considered for commissioning. Once the council approves, the candidate is then commissioned by their congregation, who hold that authority. The Commission Lay Ministry Council is a body of ministers and commission lay ministers who manage the program and provide support to candidates, CLMs, mentors, and anyone else associated with the program. I serve on this council, as well as the Reverend Dr. Elaine Strawn, who is with us this morning, who co-chairs our group. If you have any questions about the council, I would encourage you to ask either myself, Reverend Elaine, or certainly Kathy, who could answer your questions. When I became a CLM in 2016, our former minister, the Reverend Melissa Carvel-Ziemer, presented me with this stole, which I wear with pride. It was also made by members of our congregation. Today, we are commissioning Kathy as a commissioned lay minister and presenting her with a stole, which I know she will also wear with pride. Kathy, congratulations on a job well done. Welcome to the Commissioned Lay Ministry Group.
Thank you, Lori. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith is centered in the practice of covenant, the promises we make to one another. Kathy and I, in front of you now, will enter into a covenant with each other for how we will work together and mutually support one another in our ministry. Kathy, I covenant with you to support you in your ministry, listen to you, and help you discover and use your gifts and passions for the service of Unitarian Universalism and this congregation. I promise to collaborate with you, encourage you, and I honor your wisdom, your leadership, and your ministry as a commissioned lay minister.
And as a commissioned lay minister, I also covenant to support the minister to the best of my ability and show respect for the role of the minister by honoring his leadership and guidance.
Thank you. Now I invite Don Gregg to come up and lead in a covenant ceremony with the congregation.
Well, during my commissioned lay ministry training, I realized I have a personal credo that guides how I approach life. I believe that all people deserve the opportunity to be who they were meant to be in the world. And I bring this credo with me into my work in this church. But I don't work in isolation. I serve and am in covenant with the whole church community.
So today we affirm the covenant between Kathy and the congregation. I ask the congregation to say the Blake covenant with me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Kathy, do you agree to abide by this covenant?
Yes.
Congregation, do you agree to abide by this covenant? Yes. Thank you all.
I am thrilled, delighted, and honored to be with everyone today as part of this commissioning ceremony for Kathy Kerns, which originally was to take place months ago. It was very important to Kathy to be in physical presence with members and friends of our congregation for this commissioning event, and I'm glad today is finally the day. Trust me, I do not have enough time today to talk about all the qualities, talents, abilities, and characteristics that Kathy brings to this ministerial role, which will help expand the reach of our church's shared ministry, the congregation's spiritual growth and development, add continued value to our worship programs, and advance our social and racial justice initiatives. Kathy is truly one of the most genuine people that I know. Earnest, thoughtful, kind, considerate, a deep listener, a true friend, curious, honest, a perpetual student and teacher, devoted, dedicated, and as they would say in my former Rhode Island UU church, wicked smart. I found it remarkable that as Kathy neared the end of her tenure with Kent State's psychology department, earning the title of Professor Emeritus, she chose to embark on yet another path of intense discovery, study, and service by enrolling in the Commissioned Lay Ministry Program. No timeouts. Kathy, we as the UU Church of Kent are fortunate to benefit from your many gifts, which include consensus building, taking initiative, serving as a skilled group facilitator, constructing insightful worship services, and your passionate enthusiasm for working towards social and racial justice, to name but a few. I am so proud of you, and as a congregation, we're happy to congratulate you on this achievement with our thanks, gratitude, and best wishes as you serve as a commissioned lay minister.
It is with joy that on behalf of the congregation, I present you with this stole lovingly made by Carolyn Schlemmer as part of her work with the Socially Responsible Sweatshop. The awarding of the stole honors the extensive time commitment, hard work, and intellectual curiosity that defined your journey to the commissioned lay ministry. In addition, the bestowing of this stole represents your dedication to Unitarian Universalism and celebrates a higher bond of mutual relationship between you and the congregation. Kathy, as you wear this stole and it rests upon your heart, may it be a reminder that you don't journey alone. With love and support, we walk alongside of you as new doors open to unlimited possibilities. I share these words adapted from Rainier Maria Rilke. Your eyes already touch the sunny hill, going far ahead of the road you have begun. You are grasped by what you cannot grasp. It has inner light, even from a distance, and even if you don't reach it, it will change you into something else, which hardly sensing it, you already are. Kathy, may your experience as a commissioned lay minister bring you joy, growth, connection, and the peace of knowing that you are of service to others. Congregation, I invite you to share your congratulations. After the service, there are cards on the table in the back, and you can express your celebration of Kathy's work. And so we close this ceremony of celebration, wishing blessings to Kathy. Congratulations.
Thank you. For the servants.
Truly, from you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and it is from this sharing that we live. Our spiritual community thrives in its shared life of worship, community, and ministry as each of us participates in giving and receiving. This is possible because of your generous gifts of money, time, and the care you offer each other, and knowing the truth that we are all interconnected. Thank you. To help others in our community thrive, we also give to agencies and organizations in Kent and beyond that serve those in need. April's special offering is for the International Institute of Akron. Now, in the spirit of gratitude for one another, the gift of this community, and the abundance that makes our generosity possible, we give and receive the offering as a sign of our shared commitment to the life and work of this congregation and beyond.
in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. I am alone, I am searching, hungering for answers in my time. I am balanced at the brink of wisdom. I'm impatient to receive a sign. I move forward with my senses open. Imperfection can be my crime. In humility, I will listen. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power, some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. On this journey through thoughts and feelings, finding intuition, my head, my heart, I am gathering the tools together. I am preparing to do my part. All of those who have come before me, band together and be my guide. Loving lessons that I will follow. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in a stream together, some in power, some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. When we get there, we'll discover all of the gifts we've been given to share have been with us since life's beginning, and we never noticed they were there. We can balance at the brink of wisdom, never recognizing that we've arrived. Loving spirits will live together. We're all swimming to the other side. We are living beneath the great big dipper. We are washed by the very same rain. We are swimming in the stream together, some in power, some in pain. We can worship this ground we walk on, cherishing the beings that we live beside. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side. Loving spirits will live forever. We're all swimming to the other side.
And now to bring our time of worship to its close, would you join me in extinguishing the chalice? We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. May we carry these in our hearts and minds until we are together again. And would you rise now and join in singing all 5 verses of Awake Now My Senses.
Wake now my senses and hear the earth call. Feel the deep power of being in awe. Keep with the web of creation your vow. Wake now, compassion, give heed to the cry. Voices of suffering fill the wide sky. Take as your neighbor, both stranger and friend, praying and striving their hardship to end. Wake now, my conscience, with justice thy guide. Join with all people whose rights are denied. Take not for granted a privileged place. God's love embraces the whole human race. Wake now, my vision of ministry clear. Brighten my pathway with radiance here. Mingle my calling with all who will share. Work toward a planet transformed by our care.
It is a long-standing tradition that a newly minted minister, when ordained, or a commissioned lay minister, as their first official act, offers the benediction. Kathy?
These are the words of Clark Wells. Wake us again to the mysteries that humble us, the realities that orient us, and the truths that judge and guide us. Remind us of the beauty that informs and ravishes us, the love that nurtures us, the fellowship that sustains us, and the creativity that deepens and reorders our living, that we may give ourselves in honesty and openness to the larger life before us. And now, let us greet the world in joy and hope and openness as we continue to inspire love, seek justice, and grow in community. May it be so. Blessed be. Amen. And I see the light in you.